Hello YouTube and welcome back to the first video of PIDA season number 2. Now, if you guys are new to the channel and you don't know what PIDA is, I would highly recommend you go back way back to PIDA season 1 announcement video, because that explains all the wackiness and weirdness of PIDA this season. So main changes from season 1 are there are only 12 divisions. There's 12 coaches in a division this season, so it's more streamlined. So there's only 11 weeks and then 2 weeks of playoffs. So it's a 13-week season rather than a 16-week season. So it's more streamlined, so we can get more seasons throughout the year, which is the main purpose of this league, especially with the promotion relegation stuff. We have had all these new coaches. So we're now rocking 12 in Kanto, 12 in Johto, 10 in Hoenn. So we're now, 32 coaches strong? I think we were like that before, weren't we? 216s. Yeah, we were that before. But lots of people dropped out from season 1. And lots of people joined. And we're hopefully going to try and make this season more successful than last season. Because a lot of people dropped out at the end of the season, throughout the season. And there's a lot of changes. But hopefully this season that won't happen. Because I really want this league to be have permanent coaches in it, because that's the whole point of it, to improve your battling styles, because you usually play people who are on a similar skill level to you, depending on which division you are in. That's the whole purpose of this league. That's the main purpose of the league. So in Division Kanto this season, we have the Black City Kurums, coached by Zombie. We have the Boston Typhlosions, coached by David. We have the Chicago Grambles, coached by Austin. We have the Cleveland Escavaliers, coached by Slick. We have Fists of the North Sparse, coached by Jack. We have Galatasaray, coached by Dix. We have the Grand Prairie Greninjas, coached by Greninja. We have the Honolulu Holuchas, coached by Kyle. We have the Hungry Big Boys, coached by Bidoof. We have the Sinnoh Starlets, coached by Sean. We have the Victoria Victinis, coached by Devil. And we have the Wellington Ho-Ohs, coached by Starving Pig. So, all these 12 coaches are going to be fighting out for the championship. They'll be battling relegation as well. So, either end of the spectrum you have to battle for. So, unless you're in the middle and you're like it's pretty much like football. If you're at the top, you're going to battle for promotion. If you're at the bottom, you're just going to get relegated and you're going to go bye-bye into Johto. So that is the grand scheme of what PIDA is. Now, let's get into the point of this video, which is the power rankings, which have been done by maths, because I like maths, and the tiers of this season, or season 1 anyway, were done by maths. Season 2 tiers, they were done by stats. So this whole league's about numbers. So let's kick off, shall we? And in 12th place, unfortunately, is Galatasaray, coached by Dix. Because the main criteria, I should go over the criteria of what the points are judged by. They're judged by top speed. So what is your fastest mon? Biggest gap, relevant. So basically the speed. So if you've got like a really fast mon, then there's a massive gap between your next highest mon. It's easy to speed creep, because you can just go, well, bam. And it's just really hard. It's really easy to speed creep. So that's another factor to consider. Also typing. So if you're weak to like 3 or 4 typings, that affects your score. If you are super weak to 1 typing, that also affects your score. Offensive options. How many setup options do you have? How many wall breakers do you have? Defensive options. How many dedicated walls you have? How many bulky mons you have? Then we also have average HP stat, average attack stat, average special attack stat, average defense stat, average special defense stat, average speed stat. How many hazard sets you have, how many different hazards you have on your team, and how many hazard removals like defogers, magic bouncers, and spinners you have on your team. So all of those are assigned points based on ranking order. So if you're first, you get like lower points, then so on and so forth, up to 12. And overall, Galatasaray are unfortunately last, because they have done team, as you see by the fancy graphic, which you can see on the screen, because we fancy graphing today. On his team, the Galatasarays have got in tier Ubers, they have Xerneas, Solgaleo, and Rayquaza. In Tier 1, they have Latias, Volcarona, and Celebi. In Tier 2, they have Zeraora, Garchomp, and Venomoth. And in Tier 3, they have Mega Glalie, Silvally, and Crawdaunt. So, in the categories, he finished 4th with top speed Mon with Zeraora with 143. So, he's got quite a good speedy team about him. His biggest gap, he's got the pretty much the worst in 10th place with that stat, because the gap between Venomoth and Crawdaunt is quite big, because most of his team is good, because he's got between Latias, which is his second fastest Mon, all the way down to Venomoth, which is his 11th fastest Mon, is like 20 points. So that whole gap is really, really good. But he's got two anomalies. He's got the Zeraora at the top and the Crawdaunt on the bottom. So those are the two anomalies on the team. So if that Crawdaunt, if you didn't have Crawdaunt there and you had a Mon that was like base 85 or something, this team would be amazing. As well as Zeraora, if all the speeds were like the same number, it's hard to like speed creep for, because you'd have to go, oh, I can't speed creep you because that Mon. It just works like that, okay? It just works like that with his team. Imbalances, he's last in typing imbalances, because his team is weak 2. Dragon, Fairy, Flying, Rock, Dark, and Ghost. His team's got 6 weaknesses, so it's not concerning on that front. And he's got 7. They're not exactly major weaknesses on the other types, it's just spread about. His main weakness on his team is Rock, so because he's only got Garchomp and Solgaleo as his Rock resist on his team, but he's got Volcarona, Mega Glalie, Rayquaza, and Venomoth weak to Rock. So potential Stealth Rock weak team, but when I look at his hazard says he has, or has removal, should I say, he has 3 defoggers, so which I do believe are Silvally, Volcarona, and Latias. So potentially he's going to have to bring Silvally and defensive Latias most weeks to deal with that Rock weakness on his team, unless he gets a better spinner or defog on the team. But yeah, so that's main weakness on his team. He has the highest average special attack on the team, so he's got very high special attacking options on his team with the likes of Latias. Zeraora's got 102, don't sleep on that. It's got Volcarona at 135, it's got Celebi at 100, it's got Mega Glalie at 120, it's got Xerneas at 131, it's got Solgaleo at 113, and it's got Rayquaza at 150. So it's got some very hard special attacking boys on his team, but you know, if you want to prep for him, you're gonna have to need a good decent special defensive wall to deal with this team, because of that high special attack set on his team. He has no dedicated walls on his team, and only 3 bulky Mons, which are Latias, Celebi, and probably Silvally. I want to say there's only dedicated like bulky options on his team. So the Galatasaray are very offensive heavy. So hopefully they can pick up some W's this season, because I do believe they gained promotion from Johto last season because of all the dropouts. So they're gonna try. I'm guessing their main goal this season is to try and stay up, because obviously they're new in Johto, new in Kanto. That's just what happens. If you get newly promoted, you're expected to like be in a relegation battle to work your way up to top spot. But hey ho, it's an early days. You just don't know with this league. You just don't know. So that's the overall team for the Galatasaray. Now in joint 10th place, we have 2 teams in 10th place. I think this is not the only tie in this list, so stay tuned for the next one. But first up, in joint 10th place, our first team are the Honolulu Holuchas, coached by Kyle, who's on his team. They have, by this lovely graphic you can see on the screen, his Ubers Mons are Mega Marwile, Reshiram, and Aegislash. His Tier 1 Mons are Gliscor, Rotobosh, and Skarmory. His Tier 2 Mons are Shaman, Slurpuff, and Garbodor. And his Tier 3 Mons are Mega Medicham, Hitmonlee, and Alakazam. Now, he has double Mega on his team. He has the MVP of last season, Mega Medicham, and he has Mega Marwile. So, both decent Megas. He's got Bulk in Rotom-Wash, he's got Bulk in Skarmory, he's got Bulk in Shaman, he's got Bulk in Garbodor. He's got very good hard hitters in like sort of Reshiram, the Mega Medicham, the Hitmonlee, the Alakazam. So he's got more of a bulkier team, the Hollow Launchers, it has, let's have a look, shall we? It has the 11th fastest Mon, so it's got 120. So his fastest Mon on his team is, in fact, that Alakazam. But a lot of teams have Mons which are a lot faster. So speed could be an issue for the Hollow Launchers this season. But the biggest speed gap is second place with 20. Because his biggest speed gap, I do believe, is between Alakazam and Mega Medicham with 20. That's the biggest gap. So it's a very good team, speed tier-wise, because apart from that Mega Alakazam, everything's really close. So it's a good point for the Hollow Launchers there. He's got the best... No, he's got the 4th best type imbalances on the team because he's only weak to Fire and Ghost. But unfortunately, he is very weak to Ghost. He has no Ghost resist on his team. None at all. None whatsoever. So if you're playing the Holuchas and you're watching this, bring a Ghost type. Because he has no Ghost type switch. He doesn't have a Dark type. He doesn't have a normal type. And he has Aegislash, Mega Medicham, and Alakazam all weak to Ghost. So that's a fun tip to bring against the Holuchas. They are 10th in setup Mons. So the opposite of the last team. They have more walls rather than the more defensive team, obviously, because Aegislash is bulky, Gliscor's bulky, Rotowash is bulky, Skarmory's bulky, Shaman's bulky, Garbodor's bulky. He's got a very bulky team. So, and can that be... he's got 2 dedicated walls and 4 tanky bulky mons. So, and I was going to say he has a bulky team, but his average HP is last, his average attack is last, and his average special attack is last. But he is 3rd in defense, 2nd in special defense, and 10th in speed. So, yeah, that bulky team is showing through from them stats. It's a very bulky team. So, Hollow Launchers are going to be a very bulky team. So, you need to be planning that out when he beats his team. But another aspect he does have is he has every single setup option on his team. He has webs with Slurpuff. He has toxic spikes with Garbodor. He's got regular spikes with Skarmory and Stealth Rocks with Skarmory. Gliscor gets rocks. So yeah, he's got plenty of options for setup. So I reckon the Hollow Launchers plan this season is to be bulky, set up all the hazards, and just be basically park the bus. They're going to park the bus and just sit there and go, come out and move your physical threats. I'm just going to eat them all up and stall you out. That's probably the plan the Hollow Launchers are going for. But that is the Hollow Launchers team for season number 2. Now, the next team who was tied also in 10th place were the Hungry Big Boys, coached by Bidoof. Hungry Big Boys did meme last season. This season, I don't think they are, because their team is quite powerful. They have Mega Mewtwo X, Yveltal, and Zygarde 100% as their Ubers, all busted. He has Stack Attacker, Whimsicott, and Megalade as his tier 1s. He has Hooper Unbound, Volcanion, and Vivian for tier 2. And he has Blacephalon, Xurkitree, and Jetsi as his tier 3s. So, Mega Mewtwo X, Yveltal, Zygarde 100% are just going to hit things like a truck. He's got Stack Attacker, which can hit like a truck under Trick Room. He's got Whimsicott, which is Prankster Shenanigans, Megalade. Most Psychic Fighting type last season did really well, so I imagine that's put in work as well. He's got Hooper Unbound, which under Trick Room, tied up with the Stack Attacker, it's going to be really scary. He's got Volcanion as well. He's got Vivian Sleep Powder Shenanigans. We saw what Vivian could do with the Power Squad last season. Can do the same for the Hungry Big Boys this season. He's got my boy Guy Fawkes, which is a very good mon. He's got Circuitry as well for Z Hypnosis Shenanigans. And he's got Chansey, which is the bulky monster it is. And in this league, it can just do like double teams and all that stuff. And it's going to be a pain to kill. So, yeah, that is the Hungry Big Boys team. Their fastest mon is 6th place with 130 with the likes of his Mega Mewtwo X. So that's his fastest mon. But his speed gap is 11th because the gap between... what is the gap? I think it's between Stack Attacker and his next highest mon, which is Chansey at 50. That's the biggest gap. That's the biggest gap. But with the Trick Room, if he... He's drafted Stack Attacker which is mainly used under Trick Room, and besides the Chansey and possibly the Hooper and the Volcanion, he's got a kind of Trick Room team. He's got 50-50 because he's got likes of Mega Mewtwo X, Whimsicott, Mega Gallade, and Blacephalon, all above 100 speed. So he's got 5 mons above 100 speed, and a few which are under, really slow. So he can bring Trick Room some week, he cannot. I do it in LTC, so I don't see why not he cannot do it in PIDA this season. Now, his type matches aren't the best. They are not the best because he's weak to Fairy, Flying, Ground, Ghost, and Ice, where most of them are like -1, but his main weaknesses are Fairy and Flying. So if a team has a Togekiss, he's going to put in work against his team. What can I say? Because he's got 5 weaknesses to Fairy on his team in Mega Mewtwo. All his Ubers are weak to Fairy, and he's got Mega Gallade and Hooper and Boundary still weak to Fairy. His only Fairies is a Stack Attacker, Volcanion, and Blacephalon. Stack Attacker can be bulky to stop their Fairy types, but Volcanion's not that bulky, and Blacephalon is definitely not bulky. So if this team had like a better Steel type, a bulkier Steel type, which wasn't just Stack Attacker, or just a bulky Fire type really, would do this team very nicely. So also Flying as well. He's only got Stack Attacker and Xurkitree to resist the Flying Stab, because he's got Mega Mewtwo X, Whimsicott, Gallade, and Vivian weak to Flying. So those are definitely a few patches that I would recommend to patch up for the Hungry Big Boys. But setup options, he's got 2. So it's not that great. But he does have a lot of wall breakers in Mega Mewtwo X, Mega Gallade, Hooper and Bound, Volcanion, Blacephalon, Xurkitree. All wall breakers, they can just go, hello, I'm going to hit like a truck. Douche. I'm going to hit like a truck. I'm going to hit like a mother trucking truck. So yeah, that's that. And then he's got quite a bit of bulk as well behind his team. He's got 3 dedicated walls and 6 tanky Pokemon. So he's got 50-50 with the attacking offensive options, which is very, very good, if I'm to say the least. But what lets him down is he's got the highest HP stat in 2nd place, because obviously he's got Chansey on the team with 250, which is really boosting that. He's got Zygarde as well with 216, which is really boosting with that. And he's got the likes of Yveltal with 126 and Mega Mewtwo X with 106. And so yeah, Chansey and Zygarde 100% are carrying the Bidoof in that category. He is attack-wise, he's 3rd. Special attack, he's 1st. Average defense is not great. Average special defense about average. Average speed isn't great. He's got his only hazard set on this team is Stack Attacker. So hazards is a downside to this team, but he does have a lot of defoggers, and he has no spinners and no magic bouncers. So Hungry Big Boys do have quite a decent team. I really like this team, but if he patched up his Fairy type weakness, Fairy Fly, if he drafted another bulky Steel type that gets hazards, or something else to resist Fairy that gets hazards, win-win. That's the only thing I'd say to fix his team. That I really would. If he patched up that Fairy Flying weakness and got more hazards, easily that would push him up the leaderboard and not be joint 10th place. But we move on to our 9th place spot, where we have the Boston Typhlosions, coached by David. Now, his team is rocking. His tier Ubers are Mega Gengar, Durant, and Zekrom. His tier 1s are Togekiss. I said about Togekiss for the Hungry Big Boys, Slowbro, and Infernape. His tier 2s are Excadrill, T-Tar, and Breloom. And his tier 3s are Porygon Z, Blissey, and Primarina. Now, David has drafted Durant as an Uber because it put in so much work last season for the Hungry Big Boys with Scarf Guillotine. So I'm expecting it to do the same thing this season with Scarf Guillotine. So he's got Mega Gengar, which is Shadow Tag. Can definitely put in work, especially against the... what team did I say was very weak to Ghost? The Honolulu Holuchas, was it? Yeah, I think it was the Honolulu Holuchas. Was it the Honolulu Holuchas? Was it the Honolulu Holuchas? I think... no, it was the Galatasaray. Oh, I don't remember, but one of the teams I talked about earlier were very weak to Ghost, so Gengar's going to be very scary for them. Zekrom, got decent height. It's got decent stats all around. It's going to hit like a truck. Togekiss going to flinch for days. Slowbro is bulky. Infernape is a mixed attacker, so can be brought either way depending on what the situation is. He's got T-Tar Drill as well, so that can be quite scary. He's got Breloom as well, which is very scary because it gets Spore, it gets Technician. just spore mons are great in this league because there's no sleep clause. You can just go spore, 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 spore. But if you know spores come, you can bring safety goggles. You can bring a grass type to counter it. If you know it's coming, it's different to prep for than if you do on the ladder because you can get around spore shenanigans because the league has evolved even in season 2 because at the start it was just evasion spam, evasion spam, evasion spam, and everyone realised, hang on a minute, it doesn't work because it's just luck based, and this is Pokemon, so luck is never going to go your way. So that eased out, and then spore baton passing came into play, and that's like the meta right now. That's the PIDA meta right now. Omni boost, baton pass out into something, and then use spores to sweep, and that's so Balloon's probably going to be the most. He's got Porygon Z as well for Omni boosting. He's got Blissey as a bulky mon. He's got Primarine also as a bulky mon. So let's look at his stats. Top speed, he's got 130, his fastest mon, which is the Mega Gengar. And he's got 9th for speed gap because of the gap between... what is the gap between? There's a 28 there. Is it 28? Did I put down 28? It says 30 there. What is the gap? What is the gap? What is the gap? What is the gap? Let me just sort this. You can't see this because I'm doing it. I'm looking at the tables right now, but what I'm going to do is do this and that and that, and the biggest gap is in fact between... Why does I say 30 when it's actually 28? Is it actually 28? Because that's 21, that's 28, 2, 8, 10, 9, 1, 15, 25. That should be 28. And that should be an 8? Yeah, it should be an 8. It doesn't make a difference. He's still in 9th place, but yeah, my bad, guys, my bad. But he is first in type balances because he's only weak to ground, but he is very weak to ground. He's -3 for ground types. He's -3 for ground types. -3 for ground types. -3 for ground types. So that needs to be a... This is changing everything because I've done it wrong. Because I'm an idiot. Because I'm an actual idiot. So, yeah. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 3, 3. This would be 5, 5, 5. 8, 9, 9, 12. I think that's right. I think that's fixed it. I don't think anything's changed. Nothing has changed whatsoever. Nothing has changed whatsoever. That's fine. That's 100% fine. So, yeah, he's only weak to ground. And so if you have a very powerful ground type, it's going to be bad news for the Boston type because it only resists to Togekiss and Breloom. So if those things get... If he doesn't... He has to bring Togekiss or Breloom each week. Otherwise, he's going to get wrecked by ground types every week. So if he needs more ground resist, you really do. So if you've got more flying types or levitate users, fantastic, fantastic. I love the team. I love the team. I love the team. If that was the thing. You've got quite good offensive options with 5 setup mons and 4 wall breakers. But dedicated walls, you've only got 2 and you've only got 5 tanky bulky mons. So lacking on the... It's kind of... It's like 50-50 with that. Any shout out stats, he's got the highest defense stat on the team because he has the likes of Durant with 112, he's got Zekrom at 120, he's got Slowbro at 110. So he's only like he's got quite a bit of defense. Is it that defense stat? It is defense stat. He's got quite a bit of defense stat on his team. So why is this wrong? Because I'm looking at the wrong team. That's why. Because I'm an idiot. Because I can't read columns properly. I was going to say that's just wrong because he's not got a bulky team. That's the next team. My bad. But HP stat is like pretty much non-existent because besides the Blissey, he doesn't have any. Why is that wrong again? Have I mucked up this table? Oh my god. Hello, welcome back. Technical issue there because, well, I did the power rankings before a trade was done between the Fist of the North Spars and Boston Typhlosions. And that threw me off. It really did, because now the Boston Typhlosion should have a Blissey on their team, where it was a Rotom Heat. That is why these stats are wrong. But we'll take into consideration it before the Blissey, so the team has improved because it's got Blissey on it now. It's got more bulk behind it, but yeah, that's gonna gloss over that. We're gonna be technical difficulties music played just there, and then everything's back to normal. Everything's fine again. So we all good. We all good. We all Gucci. Now we move on to our 8th place team, which is the champion of last season. We have the Black Sea Curums, coached by Zombie, who are in 8th place in this Power Rankings. And their team is as follows. Their Ubers Mons are Mega Salamence, Blaziken, and Victini. Their Tier 1 options are Magearna, Mew, and Manaphy. His Tier 2 options are Tangrowth, Crobat, and Mega Tyranitar. And his Tier 3 options are Donphan, Jolteon, and Alolan Ninetales. Now, for winning Season 1, the Black Sea Curums got to franchise Magearna. And as of right now, next season, franchising is banned. Because everyone thought it'd be too busted, because we now have Ubers now. So if you win, you can just keep an Uber for yourself, and that would be unfair. We had a board vote. We had everyone voted for it. It's gone through. So we're democracy here. We're not a dictatorship, but I wish it was. Anyway, doesn't matter. Does not matter. But his team is rocking 130 in speed stat, with his highest speed mon being that Jolteon. Biggest gap is 20, so he's very good at obviously the speed creeping, because his biggest gap is between Mega Mence and Victini with that 10 spot. But he has the Black Sea Curums have 2 mons actually 130. He's got the Crobat and the Jolteon, so good bring there. His Titan balances is not great, because he's got 4 weaknesses, which are as follows: Water, Ground, Rock, and Ghost. So few familiar favourites pop up again with the Rock and Ghost weaknesses. Water weakness, I don't tend to see a water weakness on most teams, because as of all the times I've done power rankings and all of my history doing league content, people are mainly weak to ice, rock, or ground. They're like the ones that have come up the most. Possibly fairy at some point, but water? I rarely see anyone with a water type weakness. You never see anyone with a grass type weakness, because grass type weaknesses they're just irrelevant. But anywho, he has got his main weaknesses of those are ground and rock. So hazards are going to be quite good against this team, because he's only got Mence, Tangrowth, and Crobat, which are immune to or resisted by the spikes, and he's got only Magearna and Donphan, which resist Stealth Rocks. So bringing Stealth Rocks against the team is quite a good thing, even though what is his hazard removals looking like? He's got 2 Defoggers and 1 Rapid Spinner. His only Defoggers are Blaziken and Crobat, and his only Spinner is Donphan. So yeah, I don't see him bringing Defog Blaziken and Defog Crobat. He's most likely his only hazard real potential Rapid Spinner is that Donphan. So more likely he's going to have to bring Donphan most weeks to deal with Stealth Rock hazards, unless that team doesn't tend to bring hazards. So, but if you do play Zombie, I recommend bringing hazards, because he's very weak to rock and can come in helpful in this game to defeat the current champion of the PIDA Kanto Division Season 1. He's only got Stealth Rocks on his team, and he has 3 hazard setters on the Black Sea Curums, which are Mew, Mega T-Tar, and Donphan. I think that's correct. Does Mew get hazards? I think Mew gets hazards. Does Mew get hazards? I think Mew gets hazards. Yeah, he gets Stealth Rocks. His team is highest defense stat of any team, which I did get wrong earlier. But he's got Mega Salamence 130 defense. He's got Victini with 100. He's got Magearna with 115. He's got Mew with 100. He's got Manaphy with 100. He's got Tangrowth with 125. He's got T-Tar 150. He's got Donphan 120. Quite a bulky team, defensive-wise anyway. So best thing to do with this team is hit it with special type attacks, because his special defense is only 90 compared to the 102 average with the defense. So that's his worst stat is HP and special defense. So if you bring a good special attack against the team and bring hazards, it should be done deal, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I should say that, but you never know. Setup, he's got second place for that. Wall Breaker's got 7th place. Dedicated Walls has got 7th place, and Tanks Bulky Monty's got 5th place. So he's mainly got more offensive options on this team rather than bulky, but he's got defensive offensive options. He's got Salamence, which can be bulky offensive. He's got McGinnon, which can be bulky offensive. He's got Mew, which is just bulky. He's got Manaphy, which can be bulky offensive. He's got Tyrantile, which can be bulky offensive. So mainly got a more bulkier defensive, but this team is mainly bulky offense. So if you've got a way to counter bulky offense on your team and you have rocks types, then you Gucci to defeat this team. So that is the Black Sea Kyurem team. And now we move on to our 6th place team in the power rankings, because we again have 2 coaches which are tied for 6th place in these power rankings. And the first of which is the newly promoted Grand Prairie Greninjas, coached by Greninja, whose team is as follows: Kyogre, Mega Metagross, Deoxys Attack are his Ubers. Tier 1, he's got Tornadus, Furion, Snorlax, and Mega Scizor. Tier 2, he's got Hawlucha, Espeon, and Mega Slowbro. And Tier 3, he's got Zygarde 50%, Mega Swampert, and that Mimikyu. So, Kyogre is, like, busted. Really is. This is why Primal Kyogre was busted, because, you know, Kyogre is just as good. So he's got Kyogre, Mega Swampert, Rain, which can be an issue. He's got Mega Scizor and Rain as well. So he's got pretty much an Uber's Rain team. Tornadoes can land Hurricanes. Mega Scizzor's not weak to fire. Mega Swampert can benefit from Rain. So he has what? He's got Mega Scizor, Mega Metagross. So he's got 4 Megas on his team. 4 Megas for the Grand Prairie Ninjas. They have 4 Megas. So they can only bring Kyogre, Deoxys, Tornadus, Snorlax, Hawlucha, Espeon, Zygarde, Mimikyu. So they've got 8 options, which they can bring every week. And they have to bring 5 of them. So you can more than likely plan out what they're going to do. Because if you just plan for those 8, you can then just go, oh, which Mega is he going to bring? Oh, that one. Okay, let's just plan for the rest of the team. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll have to wait and see. Because last season, I think the most was 3. And even that point, that team only brought their mostly just bought the 1 Mega or the 2 Megas. They didn't even hardly bring the 3rd one. So it's going to be very interesting to see what the Grand Prairie Ninjas do with their team this season. But they do have the 2nd fastest mod in the draft with Deoxys Attack 150. Worst type balance though, because it jumps from 150 straight down to 121. But that's not the biggest gap. The biggest gap is between 30 on Mega Slowbro and Snorlax, straight up to 70 with Mega Swampert, their next fastest mod. So that gap is really bad. So that probably needs patching up. His typings are atrocious. I'm just telling you this for free. Their typings are atrocious. They have 3 weaknesses in Dark, Electric, and Ghost. Which you can say, okay, he's only got 3 typings. But he is very, very, very weak to Ghost. Because he has Metagross, Deoxys, Espeon, Slowbro, Mimikyu, all weak to Ghost. And he's only Ghost resistant to Snorlax. So the team with Mega Gengar, team with a powerful Ghost type, is going to sweep this team if Snorlax is not around. So what I need to do, and the team with Hooper on Bound on it can put work on this team, because it's weak to Dark as well. His only Dark is Hawlucha. And Hooper on Bound is a Psychic type as well. So, yeah. So this team's very, very weak to Ghost Dark type. So if you've got a powerful Ghost or Dark type on your team and you're coming up against the Grand Prairie Greninjas, I highly recommend you bring it, because it's going to put in the work against this team. It really is. And he has the most bulky options on his team, because he's got Kyogre, which can be bulky. He's got Mega Metagross, which can be bulky. He's got 150 defense. It's got Snorlax, which can be bulky. He's got Mega Scizor, which can be bulky. He's got Mega Slowbro, which can be bulky. He's got Mega Swampert, which can be bulky. And he's got kind of Mimikyu, because he's got 105 special defense, but he's got a lot of defensive options on his team. But most of them are his Megas, so he's going to have to pick which Mega is the best and just build around those. Because if you disclude the Megas, he's only got Kyogre, Snorlax as his bulky options. Because Hawlucha isn't that bulky. Espeon's not bulky at all. Zygarde can be bulky, but it's mainly going to be a physical threat. And he's got Mimikyu, which isn't really bulky unless you go out there and put an Assault Vest on your Mimikyu, because I got shouted at for doing that, but it could potentially be a good set. But hey-ho, SpaghettiOs. So, yeah, so that's the Grand Prix Ninja team. If they fix up their type matchups, how are they doing on the hazards front? On the hazards front. They have 3 hazard sets, but only 1 type hazard. So I think it's Stealth Rocks. Probably Stealth Rocks, yeah. So, and he's got 3 Defoggers and 1 Spinner. So, no, he's got 1 Magic Bouncer, should I say. He's only got Espeon to get rid of Stealth Rocks with Magic Bounce. And he's only got Scizor, Tornadus, Hawlucha to get rid of them. So, yeah, this team is going to be... It's going to be interesting to the Grand Poké Ninjas this season, because obviously you've got the quadruple Mega and very weak to Ghost. So, both those I really think need to be patched up. But the other team joined in 6th place is our 2nd place team from last season. It is the Wellington Ho-Ohs, coached by Starving Pig, whose team is rocking Celesteela, Mega Kanga, Dialga, tier Ubers. He's got Komodo, Greninja, Alolawak for tier 1. He's got Thundurus, Furion, Quagsire, and Megaordino for tier 2. And he's got Tapu Lele, Nidoqueen, and Serena for tier 3. Now, Wellington Ho-Ohs. Oh my god. Right, so, drafting process. Wellington Ho-Ohs were like, okay, let me draft Mega Kangaskhan. And then me and the board all realised that, wait a minute, Mega Kangaskhan, we didn't ban Seismic Toss, which is a guaranteed 200 hit points on any Mon if it's not a Ghost type. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Even for PIDA, that is busted, because at least with all the other rules, there are multiple Mons that can do that. This, only Mega Kangaskhan could do it. So we decided that straight after that, as soon as we knew he drafted it, we thought, wait a minute. This needs to be banned right now, otherwise he's just going to win the league with Mega Seismic Toss and just go, yep, GG. GG, well played, well done, Pig. But we banned it and said, right, you can drop it, you can drop them on and just go, right, you can either keep Mega Kangaskhan or you can drop it and switch it out right now. But he said, no, because I would have picked this Mon, which got sniped, and I was like, okay, so everyone in the league agreed, in Kanto at least, that he could drop Mega Kangaskhan, would roll back to when he drafted Mega Kangaskhan, and he wanted Zeraora. So he drafted that, and then we just kept going and going. So the only misplay on that was that Dix, the Galatasaray, lost his Zeraora and picked up Thundurus, I think, instead. And then we said, right, that's okay. Then the next day, it came to draft day, and it was like, the draft was like a slow draft, so, because everyone's different time zones and whatnot. So we get to Dix's, they get to like Pig's like 8th, 9th pick, and he goes, or Mega Kangaskhan, and everyone's like, wait. All that moaning that you didn't want Mega Kangaskhan round 4. You pick it anyway. So, no. Dix, you're having your Zeraora back. You have to pick your Thundurus now. Do it. You have to pick Thundurus now. Cheating. Playing the game. Because all you did was, in that whole scenario, you didn't get sniped at all. The only thing was that Dix lost his Zeraora and you got Thundurus instead. That's the only thing that happened in that entire draft. So, I went in and right, you need to stop this. No. All that shenanigans over and done with. That's fine. But everything's back to normal. It's okay. Don't worry about it. So, I'm watching you, Pig. I'm watching you. You may be the Ambipom boy, George of the jungle, but I'm watching you. Right. Anyway, so his team is quite not speedy in the slightest, because his speedest fastest one is Greninja at 122, and he's got quite a good speed gaps, because his biggest drop is 21, which is between Greninja and his second fastest one in that Thundurus. Typing is good because he's only weak to Ice, which is a double weakness. So, because he's got only Greninja and Alolawak which resist it, and he's got Komodo, Thundurus, Nidoqueen, and Serena which are weak to Ice. So, both of those. So, if you have a powerful Ice type, Wellington Ho-Ohs are there to be taken. He's got second place in defensive options because he's got the likes of Celesteela, Dialga, Alolawak, Quagsire, or Dino, Nidoqueen, Serena, can all be quite, not Serena, Nidoqueen, can all be quite bulky. Average HP isn't great. Most of these stats, apart from special defense, aren't great. His average speed is the worst in the league. Is the worst. He's not got the fastest team. He hasn't at all. So that's the thing to. If you've got a very fast ice type, if you've got like, I don't even know what fast ice types are in Kanto, because I think Weavile and Sneasel are both in lower tiers, so they can't be drafted. That's the only fast ice type I can think of on the top of my head. Alolan and Ninetales maybe, but yeah, so that's quite a decent way to defeat the Wentoros. He's got quite a few hazard setters and different hazards on his team. I think the only hazard he doesn't have is sticky webs. So which is really, really good for the pigs right there. So I'm expecting, well, if everyone was at the same battling skill, I'm expecting the league to finish like this. So if it does, Wentoros aren't getting top 4, neither does Black Sea Curums, but it all depends on what could happen, because anything could happen in Pokemon, anything could happen, so these power rankings mean nothing. It's just my opinions and what the stats say, so who knows. So we move on to our 5th place team, which is another Johto promotion team with the Cleveland Cavaliers, coached by Slick, who have on their team as their Ubers Mega Lucario, Necrozma Dawnwings, and Palkia. His tier 1s are Salamence, Jirachi, and Alola Muck. His tier 2s are Thunderous Incarnate, Roserade, and Darmanitan. And his tier 3s are Mamoswine, Seismitoad, and Florges. Now, straight out me, Mega Lucario is a great, fantastic mon. Palkia, loved using it when I did. I used it in a Nuzlocke, so I just have a special place in Palkia because it's probably the best legendary I have in a Nuzlocke. Necrozma Dawnwings is a strong mon. My boy Puff is a good mon. Jirachi can be bulky or it can be flinch spam. Alola Muck's bulky. Thunderous Incarnate is a good mon. Roserade is slept on the league because of hidden power technician boost. Base 90, whatever type you want, is amazing. Darmanitan can hit like a truck. Mamoswine is my boy. Seismitoad is my ex-mascot. And Florges is the special defensive monster it really is. Which I didn't help in getting it relegated to tier 3. But it's still available in Kanto. So hopefully it doesn't get relegated again to tier 4. But you never know. Right. Looking at the stats. The stats don't lie. Speed, last. Not a fast team, because its highest mon is Mega Lucario. Besides that, it's not a very fast team. But the team is quietly close together, because its biggest change is 24, which I think is between Alola Muck and Seismitoad. So most of his team is around the same mark, which is very good. So that's a positive sign for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Typing-wise, he's only got 2 weaknesses in Ground and Ghost. Once again, Ground and Ghost being the predominant typings everyone's weak to. Main weakness is the ground weakness, because he's only got 2 resists in Salamence and Thunderous. But he does have Mega Lucario, Jirachi, Muck, and Darmanitan all weak to ground. So if he can patch up that ground type weakness, win-win. Win-win. Absolute win-win for this team. Honestly, I think this is my favourite team so far. Not because it's got most of the mons that I like to use, so that's my main reason behind that. He's got 4th place in both. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. He's got 6th and 4th place in offense and 7th and 10th in defense. So main attacking presence for this team, because besides the Muck, Seismitoad, Florges, Jirachi, possibly the Palkia as well. Not a very bulky team, but is going to hit hard like a truck. It's got 4th in HP, 3rd in attack, 4th in special attack, last in defense, 4th in special defense, and 8th in speed. So not the best defensive wise, because he's only got 3 mons above 100 defense. So the way you get about this team is you go for fast attacking options, because his team's very slow and is not very defensively bulky. So if you just slap a choice scarf on your fast attacking mon, GG. Is going to put in the work, depending on what typing is. If you've got a powerful ground type, if that Excadrill comes up against this team is gone. This team is actually gone. If that T-Tar drill could get to work against this team, woof! My God, if it's got Earthquake, Rock Slide, that's game over. That's literal game over because both his ground resistors are weak to rock, so that's just GG. If he can get that stand up and he could just win with X control, just win with X control. So need to be careful of that when you play against that team. Now we move on to the top 4, which potentially could be the top 4 of this coming season. And in 4th place we have the Sinnoh Starlets, coached by Sean, who are rocking Mewtwo, Mega Blaziken, Pheromosa for his Ubers. He's got Mega Latias, Scizor, and Bishop as his tier 1s. He's got Kieran Black, Azumarill, and Ambipom. George is back. Deserve what he should be in tier 2. He's got Terrakion, Porygon 2, and Rabombi in tier 3. So, another team I like just because Ambipom's on it. I'm sorry, but Ambipom's like the best Mon in Kanto because Ditto's not there. So, Ambipom is like the best Mon ever. So, I appreciate this. Sean has the fastest Mon on his team in the Pheromosa, so he's winning first on that. His typing jumps are quite good because his biggest jump is between that Pheromosa to his next fast Mon, which is Rabombi. So, that's also good as well. Typings are actually quite good. He's got only weak to Fairy and Flying, so once again that Togekiss is going to be a problem for this team. But he's very weak to Fairy because it's only resisted Scizor. So in an ideal world, I would have another at least 1 or 2. I would trade out one of those Fairy resists for a Fairy weaknesses for a Fairy resist, and that team would be perfect. That team would actually be perfect because he's very Fairy weak, and with the adventure of Ubers and stuff, there's really powerful Fairy types rocking around. So Sean needs to be careful about that when he does play those teams with those powerful Fairy types. But he does have a Scizor, which is probably one of the best counters for a Fairy type. But if it's a Fairy type which gets a powerful Fire type move, things are over. Things are literally over. So yeah, typing wise, setup, he's got first for setup and wall breakers because he's got the likes of Mewtwo, Pheromosa, Scizor, Bishop, Kieran Black, Azumarill, Ambipom, Terrakion. It's all full out offense, and Sean is. I'm surprised at this because Sean usually, because he's in UCC, ABC, LTC, and all that stuff, he usually builds bulky teams. This time he's gone the complete opposite and gone all out offense, because he's first in offensive mons and last in defensive mons. So this team is what is hyper offense. It really is. This team is hyper offense. So it'd be interesting to see how he does switching up his battling style, but I've good hopes because he did finish 3rd or 4th last season, so got into the playoff last season, so I'm expecting them to finish around that spot as well again this season, so that's always good to know. What else has he got? 9th in HP, 2nd in attack, 8th in special attack, so he's mainly a physical attacking threat, 11th in defense, 12th in special defense. Sure, what are you doing? What are you doing? And you're 2nd in speed. So your team is fast attack. Your team is usually fat. You're just fast attack. I'm confused. I'm really confused. And you've got 2 different hazards. You've got rocks and webs because there's not. I think there's only like 2 web. There's not very many web users in Kanto because they're all lower down and they struggle to move up because they don't get killed because they just set up webs and die. So it's a real struggle for those to come up, but you never know. You never know. Next season there might be more, there might be less. Who knows? Who the heck knows? But that is the Sinnoh Starlets team. It's a very good team because they got the 4th place spot. Now we move on to 3rd place, where we have the team that finished just outside of the playoff last season. We have the Victoria Victinis, coached by Devil, who are rocking on their team Arceus Steel type because when you drafted Arceus you had to pick what type you wanted it, and he decided Steel because Steel's like the best defensive option and Arceus got 120 crit spot. So that's probably what I would have picked, or that or normal, because then you could have choice band, you can have choice spectating and all that stuff on it. I'd probably pick normal or Steel, but that's just by me. You've got Giratina Origin Form, you've got Shaman Skies as Ubers, you've got Coco, Necrozma, Mega Diancie as tier 1s, you've got Buzzwole, Gligar, Xatu as tier 2s, and he's got Suicune, Incineroar, and Drapion as his tier 3s. So Guillotine Origin is quite the physical threat, 150 HP, 120 in both attack stats. Shaman Sky is the flinch master itself. Tapu Koko, electric terrain. Tapu Koko can be strong. Necrozma's bulky. Mega Diancie is quite good with 110 speed and 160 in both attacks, so that's quite a good mon. Buzzwole can be a bulky, hard-hitting physical threat. Gligar's defensive. Xatu's defensive. Suicune's defensive. Incineroar's got the Intimidate option, and Drapion can be bulky with Toxic Spikes and whatnot. So quite a good team. Let's look at the numbers, shall we? Sixth fastest mon in Tapu Koko, but his big speed gaps are what is rocking it up there, because his biggest speed gap is 19, which is, I think, is between what is that between? What is that between? 60 Incineroar to 79 Buzzwole. Besides that, it's really good. That's why it's first in biggest speed gap, because it's going to be, because all their mons are around the same speed stat. So you have to speed creep like his whole team to stand a chance, which can hinder prepping. So good thing. Typings wise is kind of alright, I guess. He's got 4 weaknesses in Fairy, Rock, Ghost, and Ice. Main weakness of those being Rock, because his only Rock resist is that Arceus Steel, but Arceus Steel does get defog. He also has Shaman, which gets defog. He also has Gligar, which gets defog. He's got Xatu, who gets Magic Bounce. So he has options to get rid of that rock weakness he has. He's got second in setup mons, but only got 2 wall breakers. So this team is very reliant on setup. So that's going to be an issue, because you're going to have to waste a turn to set up to be able to sweep late game. So you're going to have to be careful not to allow the Incineroars, the Victoria Victini, to set up against this team. Quite good with walls and tanky mons, because you've got like Arceus, who can bulky Giratina, Necrozma, Gligar, Xatu, Suicune, all bulky mons. He's got the 4th highest HP stat, 6th highest average attack stat, 10th in special attack, 1st in defense, quite a bulky team, 10th in special defense, and 3rd in speed. So this team is fast defense, so I don't know the best way to beat that. He's got 2 hazard setters, he's got a lot of hazard removal, which is very good, bearing in mind he's got that rock weakness. So Stealth Rock's probably not going to be an issue. It's just going to be rock type stab or moves that are going to be very good against this team. So I would, if I was the Victoria Victini, pick up a more I'd pick up a special defensive mon, because you haven't got very many special defensive walls other than that Arceus, which stand out to me. Possibly Suicune as well, but that's a mix. That's 115 in both. So what I probably would drop. What would I drop? I don't even know. I'd drop probably. I would, in my opinion, I'd drop Drapion, because I'm not a fan of Drapion. I know it gets Toxic Spikes, but I'd prefer to have a more specially bulky rock resist there. What was this rock? Fighting type? Is there a bulky fighting type? If you get, I don't know if Hitmontop's tier 3 or something like that. But more like Hitmontop would make this team perfect. So that's my opinion anyway. But move on to top 2. Now, we have 2 teams left, both of which are newly promoted from Johto. So these 2 teams should do well this season, based on their team, just based on their team alone. So in second place, we have the champion of Johto last season. We have Fists of the North Stars, coached by Jack, who has on their team, in Team Ubers, they have Mega Mewtwo Y, Marshadow, and Kyurem White. In Tier 1, they have Hydreigon, Heatran, and Klefki. In Tier 2, they have Miltank, Nidoking, and Cresselia. And in Tier 3, they have Rotom Heat, Tapu Bulu, and Vaporeon. Now, these power ranks were done before that trade, so Fists of the North Stars did have Blissey, now they have Rotom Heat, so it could change it slightly, but I don't see it changing it that drastically that it would move down or move up a ranking system, because it's not exactly really close to those standings, but that's fine. But 5th in speed with his 140 Mega Mewtwo Y. Biggest speed gap is 25, which is the gap between Marshadow and Miltank, so it's going to be quite the scary option there with that Marshadow, but if you ignore those two, 100 down, they're really quite similar. So that's good by the Fisk of North Sparth there. Typing and balance is perfect. He has no weakness. He does have a weakness now. Damn it. Before that trade, he had no weaknesses and no resists, and everything was Gucci. It had been perfect team. He had no weaknesses. It's a well-balanced, round-out team. It was perfect. But he swapped Blissey for Rotom Heat. Now he's weak to Ghost. Once again, Ghost is coming in clutch. So if you've got a powerful Ghost type, you can do well in this league. Because most teams are weak to Ghost. As you can probably tell by this video. So he didn't have it before. He now has it now. Because he only has Miltank and Hydreigon, which was just Ghost. Because both his tier Ubers are... Two of his tier Ubers are weak to Ghost. So that's very unfortunate for him. So he got very many setup options, but he has got quite a few wall breakers, especially in the Q and White, the Marsha, the Mega Mewtwo Y. Dedicated walls, he's got the pies for that because he's got Miltank, he's got Cresselia, he's got Klefki, he's got Vaporeon. He did have Blissey, but it's gone down now, so he's joint first now with the team in first place. You can probably tell who it is by now because it's the only team I haven't been mentioned yet. HP is probably not first anymore with 109 because he doesn't have Blissey anymore. He's 11th in attack, 5th in special attack, 10th in defense, 1st in special defense. So he's got a very specially defensive team, and he's got 7th in speed, so he's average speed. So what this team is weak to is defensive. This team is not very defensive minded because it's mainly special defense based on the average stats. He's only got 93 average defense. So if you've got a very hard hitting attacking mon, amazing, absolutely amazing. That's what you need. And hazard removal, he hasn't got that many. He's only got 2 defaulters in Klefki and Rotom Heat now. So he's got more than one. And the other one is... What's the other one? What else gets default? Just Klefki? I don't even know. I can't remember. I'm not a good PokeTuber, so it's fine. So yeah, that's the Fisk of North Sparth team. It's a very good team. Especially we've now added Rotom Heat rather than Blissey. It's still going to be around the best team here, even with that trade. So, and we move on to our first place team, which is quite the scary team nonetheless, based on stats alone. We have the Chicago Grambles, coached by Austin, who on their team is rocking Mega Alakazam, Ash Greninja, Kartana. They're not. These are set in speed order, so they're not. There's not his Ubers. I do apologise. His Ubers are Giratina, Ho-Oh, and Necrozma Duskmane. His tier 1s are Kartana, Mega Venusaur, and Clefable. He's got Mega Alakazam, Ash Greninja, and Landorus as his tier 2s. And he's got Mienshao, Magneton, and Toxapex as his tier 3s. So, it's quite the scary team, if I do say so myself. He's got second fastest mon in Mega Alakazam with 150. His biggest drop is probably between Toxapex and Clefable with 25. So, besides that, it's quite a good speed creeping scenario with that team. Typing imbalance, he's only weak to 2 types, Ground and Ghost. With Ghost being number 1 again, so once again, this team is weak to Ghost. Everything is weak to Ghost in Kanto, apparently, so Ghost is like the main mon to bring, I guess, because everyone's weak to it, so bring a Ghost type. Bring a freaking Ghost type. So, bring a Ghost type, because his only Ghost resist is that Ash Greninja. I mean, Ash Greninja is a good mon once it's killed something. Other than that, it's just a Greninja with those normal stats with no Torrent boost, no nothing. It's just a Greninja. So, until you kill something, it doesn't get the mad stats it gets. So, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's just one of those things. Mega Alakazam is a good mon. Mienshao, I used it last season. Very good mon. He's got Giratina, Ho-Oh, and Necrozma Duskmane as his Ubers. Giratina and Ho-Oh are both bulky mons. He's got Toxapex bulky, Clefable bulky, Magneton bulky, Mega Venusaur bulky. So, I'm guessing he's going to be up the top near the defense. Yes, he's second in both dedicated walls and tanks bulky. He is 6th and 9th in offense. So, mainly a bulky team. But I say he's mainly a bulky team, but he's got the 10th worst HP stat. He's got bulk, but he hasn't got HP. He's got 3rd in attack, 3rd in special attack, 4th in defense, 3rd in special defense, 5th in speed. So overall, if you ignore the HP, he's got a very good stats-wise on his team. He's got 5 hazard setters and 3 different hazards. I think the one he's missing is those sticky webs, because he's got Toxic Pex for toxic spikes. He's got Landorus for stealth rocks. He's got spikes on. I'm guessing Toxic Pex gets spikes as well. But yeah, he's got quite a few defogers. He's got 4 defogers, no magic bounce, no spinners. So overall, it's a good team. But according to the stats, this team should win the league. But there's no pressure on you, Austin, to win the league, because you just got promoted from Johto. So overall, those are the power rankings for Season 2 of PIDA Division Kanto. If you guys have enjoyed these power rankings, make sure to smash the like button down below. Be subscribed if you're not already, and hyped for PIDA Season 2 starting back again on the channel. Leave any comments if you disagree with any of the ranking order, because it's done by maths. So it's the same one we used for UCC, and it's working now. So fingers crossed it works again. So hope you guys enjoyed, and there'll be 2 more power rankings this week, and next week will probably be Kanto weekly shows and my team overview. So stay tuned for those as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!